So we've got a couple of guys here in the shop from Rocker Road Air. This is a purpose-built air system made for JKs. This particular unit is custom made for this Elite chassis, but they make one to fit a standard JK. And they also have a portable unit called the Ammo Air. This is Dave.
Hi.
And Daryl. Dave comes from where they drive on the wrong side of the road, and Daryl comes from where they charge too much money to drive on the road. That's being California. So this is their air system that fits into a JK, and essentially what we have here is an air source. This is an air compressor, and you can run various compressors and a storage tank, but that's not where the magic happens. So you can see this gray data cable comes down, and it's hooked up to a control panel. This control panel Bluetooths to an app on your phone. This system can also be used manually using these buttons, or you can use predetermined air down and air up values. Now this Jeep has got 40s on it. They got some pretty big tires. This Jeep just got back from King of the Hammers, and it was driven for 5 or 6 days pre-running, and it has an LT Gen 5 engine with an 8-speed in it. So airing down these tires and airing up these tires was pretty important. So I'm going to let Dave tell us how this system works and show us the app.
Hi. The system can work either via the Bluetooth phone or via the Bluetooth box underneath the seat. The idea is that you'd set the defaults with the app so that you don't have to have the phone on all the time. Like Robbie said, there are 4 buttons on the control. You've got manual inflate and manual deflate, and that'll override any values you set. You can inflate or deflate manually. If I do that, for example, that inflates, and do that and it deflates automatically. This is auto mode, and this button here will inflate to the default inflate pressure, and this button will deflate to the deflate default pressure. They're set with the phone.
Why don't you show us the app?
Okay, the app is a Bluetooth, and it connects to the system, and will tell you the current tire pressure. You can change the down pressure by double tapping, changing the pressure. Now if I hit the auto down, the system would deflate the tires down to 17 psi automatically.
Now let me interrupt you right here, Dave. As you can see, we have an air line going out to each wheel. This system actually deflates and inflates the tires simultaneously.
Correct.
So we're not doing these individually.
Correct. So all 4 tires will be deflated to the pressure you set. And all 4 tires will be inflated to the pressure you set to.
Which saves a lot of time over the other way.
A lot more time for talking and drinking beer.
Okay, so then you can set an automatic value up in the app, and then essentially hit automatic, and it'll deflate to that value or inflate to that value. You can then override that using the manual buttons here.
Correct. For example, if we're at 25 psi now, if I'll go up to maybe 21 for the time, and if I hit auto down, you'll hear the air deflating coming from all 4 tires, and if you watch, the display will say deflating, and then you'll see the pressure come down. So this is monitoring the tire pressure as it's coming down. Now 40-inch tires, so it's going to take quite a while for the...
And we're going to keep these tires to within what tolerance of each other? A half a PSI?
Yeah, we guarantee half a PSI. It's actually closer than that, but we'll say it's within half a PSI.
So how long do you think it would take to inflate a set of 40s if you have a good strong air source?
Let's say 35s. We know 35s. 35s from 35 psi to 15 is about 3.5 minutes, and about 5 minutes to inflate from 15 to 35.
And I can tell you that I got 35s on my JK, and it takes me about 4 times that long to inflate and deflate.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else you want to show us in this system?
The whole idea behind this system was to make it easy. All we do is plug in the hoses.
Now we can see that it just shut off.
Yes. Now it thinks it's close to the pressure. It's shut off, and you can see it's counting down. It's going to let 20 seconds for it to.
So it's letting it settle.
Check the pressure. Yes, letting it settle. And after 6 seconds, now it'll indicate it's got another 4 seconds to do the final deflate to hit the correct pressure.
So this system is all about accuracy.
All of accuracy and ease. I think the whole idea is to make it easy to deflate and inflate your tires on the track.
And once you disconnect these hoses, we don't have any device left on the rim that could potentially deflate it on your tire on the trail. Now, what's included in this kit?
This is a modular system, so we'll put it together to your requirements. This kit has the under-seat brackets with the quick disconnects for the hose.
Now, are these bespoke to a JK, meaning if I had a JK, is this a bolt-in?
This is a JK specific kit, yes. It's a bolt-in, goes right under the seat. You don't have to drill any holes. It just screws right into the holes that are already in the seat. So that's under this seat. On the other side, you get the same kind of bracket without the controller. In the back, we have an enclosure that doesn't really take up a lot of space. We still got plenty of cargo room. We've built it with an undercut so that we minimize the amount of space that's
you're minimizing the amount of space used. So if I show guys here, when this seat goes back, you're not really losing much space, maybe 8 inches, 10 inches?
I think it's about 8 inches.
So what does this switch do here with the red and the green light?
Okay, in this mode with the green light on, it's in our rocker road air down or up mode. If you turn it off, it turns the system off. Okay, if I hit the green button and the red light comes on, now the compressor is on and it's putting air into the 2.5 gallon tank so that you can use air tools, blow the G-pipe, etc. It will turn off at the preset pressure. This particular one is 110, so it'll turn off at 110. If you use your air hose to blow things off, you use the wrench, it then comes back on at 80, I think it is.
Okay, so these smaller gauge quick disconnects and braided hose are to inflate the tires. Then you have a separate larger quick disconnect for air tools and other. Can you show us that?
Yeah. There's a quick disconnect here, and we can mount it in different locations. This particular one is convenient here. So this is a conventional quick disconnect. Then you can put your air hose on here, or your wrenches, or whatever. And 2.5 gallons is plenty for impact wrench to break lug nuts.
Now, what if I have A or B lockers and I want to run them as I'm driving down the road?
If you have ARB lockers, you can utilize the tank. So hook up to a T to the tank and get air directly from the tank. So you'll have 2.5 gallons of air. You would turn the compressor on, and it will turn off at 110. Leave it on while you're on the trail. That will automatically supply air to the lockers and turn on when the air...
So this would put it into a standard mode, run off a Hobbs switch where the compressor would pump up to a predetermined value and then keep it at that value as long as that switch is in that position.
This is a special request from the customer. We had the panel over here that normally is blank because the rocker road air control is on the passenger side. But here we mounted a battery management system. So it will take care of an auxiliary battery and link the batteries when the engine's running. It doesn't require hooking into the electrical system. The way it works, when it senses anything up to, I think it's 13.6 volts, the relay kicks in and then the alternator supplies power to the auxiliary battery.
Now, is this designed so that you don't run your battery down while you're inflating your tires?
It is. It's better with these high output compressors to have an auxiliary battery because it uses a lot of amperage. I think this one is about 40 amps while it's running, which is enough to drain your battery quickly.
So what if I don't have dual batteries?
Then you'd leave the engine running.
And this panel differentiates from the other panel in that it doesn't... This is a battery management panel?
Yes. So we have two buttons. The button on the left is the measure button, and it has two functions. It'll check the main battery and the auxiliary battery. If I press the button in, it's checking the output right now of the alternator. When I let go, it'll check the auxiliary battery. But because the alternator is running, it's showing you what the alternator is. Can you turn the battery at the G-clamp, Darryl?
So essentially you're replacing the isolator in a traditional dual battery setup.
So now with the engine off, if I push this button, that is the voltage for the auxiliary battery. When I let go, it's checking the voltage for the main battery.
Okay, so this is the portable ammo air, which essentially has similar functionality to the mounted air system. Why don't you explain how it works?
Hi, this is ammo air, as it says here. We call it ammo air because it's an ammo box. It contains a higher output compressor. This is about 5.56 CFM. It has the same Bluetooth controller that you have on the built-in kit. It has the same 4 hoses that connect to the tires. It has jumper cables to connect to the battery. So this will work on any vehicle. What you do have to do is set the tire size so that everything is accurate. Other than that, you can use it on any vehicle.
What does the tire size have to do?
There are algorithms in the system to control the airing down and the airing up.
Interesting.
We monitor the volume. Basically, we need the tire size so we know the volume of air in the tire.
So if I had a 40-inch tire versus a 32-inch tire, your system would take that into account on air down.
Correct. Because when you're airing down, if you ever notice, you put a tire pressure valve, you won't be able to check the pressure. There is really no pressure when you're airing down.
So how does your system detect that?
Magic.
So basically you have smart electronics that predict, or maybe lookup tables that tell it aired down for X amount of time. Interesting. So you don't have to shut off the deflation process to check the air and then start it again.
No, we know the volume of air in the tire by the tire size. There are algorithms in the little computer in there that calculate how to air the tires down to the correct pressure. So
is that why there's that 5-second or 6-second deflation stage? Because the algorithms tell it that you're down to approximately the right pressure, and then that last 5 or 6 seconds is fine-tuning it.
It's confirming, yeah. But we've found that it's very consistent. We could probably take that out, but just to be more accurate, we leave it in. Okay. So any of our systems that use the Bluetooth, you need to enter the tire size so that the airing down and airing up is accurate. So in this particular case, this customer has 40-inch tires, 17-inch rims, and 13.5-inch wide tires. It needs that information to calculate how much air is in the tire, so when you deflate, it knows how long. So the valve is open, so you don't have any springs in the system that restrict the airflow out of the system. Airing up is very similar. We can accommodate any compressor. At the beginning of the cycle, the system checks the output of the compressor, so it knows how to inflate and when to stop.
Will your system work with onboard CO2?
Not yet. Hi, my name's Dave Knight. Myself and Darryl Warren own Made for Rocks. One of our products that we're showing you here is Rocker Road Air, and we have another product, a portable compressor kit that we call Ammo Air. We're from Anaheim, California. We service most of Genrite customers, developing this system and others.